In this episode of the Drumming Mastermind podcast, I have the distinct honor and pleasure of speaking with one of my drumming heroes from one of my all-time favorite bands. I've been idolizing him since I picked up the sticks, and while I'm super grateful, I'm still in disbelief that I've had the privilege to talk with him about his story and drumming journey. He is a producer, drum teacher, DJ, the CEO of a music label called Boogie Bus Music. He is an absolute gentleman, and he is the rock-solid drummer of Jamiroquai, Mr. Derrick McKenzie.
Hey, boo, I get that sunshine feeling when I'm close to you.
Right, we are rolling.
Awesome.
Yeah, so how you doing?
Yeah, not bad. I'm just coming out from a cold, so still have a bit of the sniffles, which is irritating, but I'm good apart from that.
Oh, right.
How about yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. You know, I've got a bit of a backache today, unfortunately. Do you know what I mean? So I'm suffering with that a bit today. But I think once I've gone out and done a bit of movement and all that, I'll be fine. Do you know what I mean? You know, I've had it for quite a while, to be honest. But you know, I'm getting it sorted out. But you know, it's just one of those ailments we have to deal with as drummers. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that's a perfect opportunity to dig in there then. Do you think it came from drumming or the way you sit, or was it something external to drumming?
Do you know what? I think it might be a hereditary thing because my dad suffers with it, and also my mum has it as well. Exactly the same spot. So I think it's hereditary, to be honest. My sister doesn't suffer with it, just me, my mum and my dad. But one thing I will say is that it could also be down to my diet as well. Even though I watch what I eat, I have got a bit of a sweet tooth, and they say that. But they say that you know the refined sugars can also create backache as well. So yeah. That's after I looked into it in depth. Do you know what I mean? You know, and they said how much of that is true. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going with what the internet says, which could be telling me a pack of lies. Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. It's a dangerous place, the internet. There's so much information there, but what's real and what's not is another story.
Exactly that. But it's part of it could be posture as well, the way I sit, because over the past few years, quite a few years actually, I've actually changed the positioning of my drums. So I've kind of raised them up, so I'm kind of forced to sit up. Do you see what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
And then try and put the drums in a position where they're easy to reach, so to speak. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
So I can have the most efficiency to play, you know. But yeah, so it could be years of playing kind of slouched over due to drum positioning and stuff like that, and just bad habit, basically, because a lot of drummers sit crouched, don't they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Really, it should be more upright in order to, well, it's what I think anyway, to play more efficiently.
Definitely.
You know. Yeah, so anyway, I'll get it sorted out. I've got a show next week, so yeah, I'll get it sorted out.
I hope so too. And just going back to your seat position, so at the moment, if you were to stand next to your drum stool, where is the seat in relation to your body?
I'd say, gosh, maybe my thigh.
Okay,
kind of like here, kind of between the knee and my waist, in between, maybe slightly just above the knee, most probably, I'd say. Just above the knee, just so that when the angle that I get is not that, it's more, some people sit like that, don't they? Do you know what I mean? Legs going out there straight down. I'm at an angle.
Yeah, so your knee is
down.
that would mean your knee is slightly lower than your hips then?
Yes, exactly. Yeah,
Cool.
but only fractionally. Only fractionally. You know what I mean? And the reason for that is that's just the way I've played for many, many years. Do you know what I mean? I have played even higher at an angle. Do you know what I mean? But I kind of found it I found it too uncomfortable. So what I did was to get the right position in, what I did was sat on the stool where I felt most comfortable, and then I airplayed. You air drum and just see where my hands land, as in regards to snare, hats, all that kind of stuff, and then basically set the drums to that angle roughly, and then kind of fine tuned it. Do you see what I mean? You know, and it's actually made a lot of difference. So with my seating, the first thing I set up on my drums is my kick drum, my snare, and my hi-hat before I put anything else on, right? Because I need to feel comfortable with those three before putting anything else on the drums, around the kick. And then one of my important factors is around the kit is the kick drum, because I play heel toe. I play heel toe. And I've been playing like that for years. So with that in mind, the seating needs to be in the right position so I could get the most dynamic and power when I need it without forcing it. Do you see what I mean? Without having to force the issue, I can just go heel toe. What I get is a heel toe. If I want to do it hard, I can do it. If I want to do it soft, I can do it. Tap it. I'll get a gentle heel toe double.
Yeah.
See what I mean? And then when I'm playing with Jamiroquai, it's normally it's quite a hard heel toe, and it's my doubles aren't always consistently like it'll be a soft hard.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Boom, boom. That's how my doubles come out, because of maybe the way that I play.
Yes.
Because of the way that I play. So with that in mind, you know, the stool needs to be in the stool is where it is. My stool position is just above, I'd say just above the knee.
Okay.
Just above, maybe a little bit higher, just to create that angle so I can get the power that I need for the foot, to get the doubles in. And then and then with my hi-hat foot, it's, I don't know, wherever my foot goes naturally, I set the hi-hat pedal to that angle.
Yeah.
The actual pedal itself, you know, it's not you know, it normally would be like, I don't know, it'd be straight and then like that, wouldn't it? Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But wherever my foot naturally goes, I just set it to that and leave it there, and that's fine.
Awesome. That was my next question.
Yeah. Yeah. I do find that actually setting up my kick, snare, and hat first when I'm doing any gig. What my drum techs with Jamiroquai most probably won't do that, but I would do it when I'm doing like a function or working in the studio. I would set up my drums exactly and perfectly the way that I want, so that I could get the most dynamics out of the drum and efficiency, playing wise, out of the kit. You know, so, you know, and then my hi-hat, the height of my hi-hat is a very important factor as well. Too high, for me, it's too heavy, and then if it's too low, it just gets in the way, basically. So it needs to be in the right place. So I do have a sweet spot for it where it goes and it feels right, and I can do what I want to do efficiently with my hands. You know what I mean? And going from snare to hi-hat in a very efficient way, doing my 16ths, going around the toms, and being able to come back to the hi-hat and doing my little frills and stuff that I do on my hi-hat. It has to be at the right height for me, but mainly more so for the dynamics.
Okay.
More for the dynamics of, because for me, the hi-hat is it's one of the most important part of my playing.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, it just needs to be in the right place. And I found that spot, which is, I can't even describe where it is. It's just in the right place.
The sweet spot.
Yeah, it's in the sweet spot. Yeah. But I did find actually recently I lowered my snare a little bit. We're talking centimeters. When I'm recording, I've lowered my snare a little bit, and have found that I can be even though I'm quite a hard hitter, I kind of find myself being more dynamic, but just by lowering it just a little bit, by taking on some advice that actually Dave Weckl spoke about back on one of his first videos, back in the Back to Basics, I think it was called. So by watching that years and years ago, obviously didn't take any notice of it back then. Do you know what I mean? Many years later, I've gone, oh yeah, I remember Dave saying something about the whole snare placement and all that. So I just tried it and just kind of moved it up and down, then found a place where it works really well for me, keeping the hi-hats where they are. And I've just found my playing has seemed to got a lot better dynamically, and found myself to be able to play more efficiently as well.
Yeah. Would you say that decrease in the height of the snare helped with rim shotting and ghost notes as well? Yeah. Okay.
More so with the rim shotting and the grace note thing. Actually. More so with the grace note and the rim shotting thing, and also by watching a lot of other drummers, like J. Rod Sullivan. Nate Smith, for instance. Obviously Steve Gadd, one of my heroes. Also, Harvey Mason, one of my major heroes. Always wondered how he got that dynamic on his snare. Just never could work out. Thought it was all about control and everything. But control was part of it. Was a big part of it. But the height of the snare was always a really major part of it as well. Height of, and just being able to crack the snare when you wanted to crack it, and then also when you didn't want to crack it, you could just be really dynamic on it as well. You know what I mean? Doing the ghost notes and the little buzz notes and things like that on your playing. When you're playing those lighter tracks.
You brought up the concept of drumming heroes, and you mentioned a few. Are there any others that you sort of are inspired by or aspire to be similar to?
Similar to, well, my hero's always been Harvey Mason, to be perfectly honest. He's always been my hero. And Billy Cobham is also my hero as well. Another big hero of mine. There's a drummer who I came across recently who's Cuban but lives in Spain. I think everybody should know him. He's got about 1 million followers. His name's Jay Kalo.
I haven't heard of him yet.
Very good guy. He's very good.
I'll note that down.
Jay Kalo. He's one of those, and also Jay Kalo's great because he has the chops for days, but he's a wicked groover. He's an amazing groover as well. Yeah. His solos are very rhythmic but technical. Chops for days. Honestly, he's got so much chops. He's a Yamaha endorsee. He plays minor cymbals, I want to say, or bass. I think minor cymbals he plays, but he's an amazing player. And I've actually reached out to him to ask him a couple of questions. Do you know what I mean? Like hand speed, all that kind of stuff. And there's and he actually got back to me and said, "Oh, this is what I practice," and I've actually started to practice it, and it's actually been very, very helpful. It's obviously something he's been doing for many, many years, right? Do you know what I mean? Because he's like mastered it. I'm just starting it now, and I'm not struggling, but I can see what I've even at my age now, I can see that I've got serious weaknesses in my right hand. In my
Yeah,
right hand. I'm left-handed.
Yeah.
Right hand is my weak hand. And I've got, even though the right hand it's not too bad, but it could be a lot better because I want the right hand to be like the left hand, but that's going to take a lot of work.
Of course.
My advice to any young drummer is to make sure that your right hand is as good as your left hand, or your left hand is as good as your right hand. Make sure that they're equal. Something that Simon Phillips said as well. Make sure that they're both the same. But yeah, Jay Kalo is one of my. I'd like to be like Jay Kalo. Not play like him, but kind of have the flow which he has.
Yeah.
The flow and the rhythm that he has. I've got my style, which I've developed over years, but to have that flow to go around the kit, also like J. Rod Sullivan and like Billy Cobham. Do you know what I mean? To have that efficiency and to go around. But every drum is different. I've got my style. It works. People are dancing. I'm like, great. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's put a lot of smile on people's faces. You know what I mean? So I don't want to copy anyone. I just need to be me. But I do take aspects of other people's playing and put it into my playing. You know? There's Jake. Yeah, Nate Smith is another one, but he's on a different planet. He's on do you know Patar, who plays with Corey Wong?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the guy Patar plays with Corey Wong. He's a phenomenal drummer. Very similar to Nate Smith.
Because wasn't Nate Smith playing with Corey Wong as well?
He played Fearless Flyers.
Was Corey Wong in the Fearless Flyers?
Yeah. Corey,
okay.
Yeah, it's all part of the Wolfpack umbrella.
Yeah.
Wolfpack umbrella, Corey Wong, Fearless Flyers, Nate Smith, Antoine Stanley. There's a load of them. Do you know?
Wow.
And then you've got the Wolfpack guys, the guys that are in the band, the main guys. They've got their own thing going on as well. You see, as individuals.
Okay.
You got the bass player. He's got his own thing going on. So they all come under this umbrella. So there's a big, massive umbrella, and they've got all these spin-offs.
I didn't know that. That's fascinating.
Yeah. I mean, the music is similar but different. All the music is similar but different. So, but I'd say Nate Smith does very well. Do you know what I mean? Corey's doing exceptionally well. Do you know what I mean? Because he's just a workaholic. He's doing exceptionally. And he's always kept the same drummer, Patar, which is amazing. So Patar's just like gone from strength to strength. And I believe he'll be coming out with his own project as well, which would which would be great. That'd be great. That'd be really good. That'd be a really good thing as well. Patar's another guy I'd like to, who I've drilled about his technique of playing as well, and he basically says the same as everyone else. I just sat down and just did that for hours on end. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. I've spoken to all those drummers and they've all said the same thing. Just did that, sat down and did that for hours on end. Like, okay, all right, so maybe there's something in that then,
Yeah.
Any more drummers? Are there any more drummers who I aspire to be like? I mean, those are the main guys, to be honest. Those are the main guys, really. The guys that impress me personally. I mean, one of my favorite was, oh gosh, what's his name? Oh, I can't believe it. He passed away recently. We'll have to edit this bit out because we'd have to say.
It feels like there's been many musicians that have passed away recently. So I'm trying to.
Chops. Chops, the guy played with Usher. He played with Usher.
Aaron Spears?
Aaron Spears.
Yeah.
Aaron Spears, another guy, one of my idols. Amazing.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing drummer. Aaron Spears, and another drummer who is also a massive inspiration for me, and this without a doubt, is Calvin Rogers. You know Calvin?
Calvin Rogers, no. It rings a bell, but I can't put a image
Calvin
to the
Rogers
name.
is basically one of the first gospel choppers. No, he's not even a gospel chopper. He's one of the first guys to come out of the Christian circuit to do exceptionally well.
Yeah.
Basically, you don't hear his name much, but he's on everything.
Yeah.
He's one of those. Yeah, he's one of those. But he's an amazing drummer, absolutely phenomenal. Done his gig. I discovered him through listening to, because I'm a Christian myself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm a Christian myself. So listening to Christian music, and I came across him across a bass player and singer called Fred Hammond. And Fred Hammond used his band, and his drummer was Calvin Rogers.
Right.
And phenomenal. I mean, like, really, really good. Really good. Good groover, great player. And he plays with all different Christian bands. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
His live work is phenomenal, but his recording work is exceptional. He's very, very good. He's very, very good.
I'll add that to the list of drummers I still need to check out. Speaking of, I've noted him down too.
He's very good. Cuban based, bearing in mind he's Cuban based, so he's playing somewhat different,
Speaking of lesser known drummers, have you heard of Ricky Wellman?
No, I haven't.
There's not much on him online, and I only came across him through like a video game that I had played. I loved the music from it, and I went to go learn some of the songs.
Okay.
And then when I dug deeper, I read that Ricky Wellman was the session drummer for the soundtrack, but he is absolutely insane. He has such a unique feel in his playing. He played for Miles Davis and
oh wow,
yeah, and some other huge names, but somehow he's gone under the radar.
Is he a young guy or an older guy?
He's older, and sadly, he's passed away.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'll dig up some links for you and shoot them through later on.
Yeah. Ricky Wellman. Yeah, I'm going to check him out.
Amazing player.
Check him out. Is he from the States or from Australia or?
He'd be from the States.
From the States, right? Okay.
Yeah, he was sort of the drummer that pioneered the genre of music called go-go. Have you heard of?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's one of the founders of that style.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Amazing. Yeah, I like go-go as well. I really like that. All the percussion stuff and the beats.
Yeah. So what does a regular week look like for you?
Okay, so this year hasn't been phenomenal because of my back. So it hasn't been great, right? But before the back injury, it would be up at 4:30 in the morning. I do my Bible study, Bible reading and stuff before I get out of the bed.
Yep.
A little prayer. Thank the Lord for a wonderful day and waking me up and all that.
Yep.
And then I'd go out and I'd exercise. So I'd be out on the road, say at 5 a.m., 5:30.
Wow.
Or something, running, skipping, doing some sort of exercise. And I do that for maybe an hour and a half, something like that, hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours. When I do the runs is more, I do interval running. So because of my back, right? Okay. So I've always done interval running. So I built up, like I kind of got up to running for 20 minutes and then having 1 minute walking and then run again for another 20 minutes. But what I found is doing anything between 5 and 10 minutes interval running is very helpful for me.
Okay.
Personally. And with that, sorry?
Helpful in terms of
Cardio, general
yeah,
fitness, weight loss,
yeah.
you know, heart function. Do you know what I mean? That interval running, because you're running, because what you can do is increase the intensity of your running, and then you'd rest for a minute, and then your recovery is quicker.
Ah,
I found myself recovering very quickly
yeah.
from, as I'd run for 20 minutes and then I'd walk for 1 minute and I'd be fully recovered, my heart rate would go back down to normal. And then I'd run again for another 20 minutes. But then I would like kind of do anything between 5 miles and 10 miles.
Wow.
5 or 10 miles, depending on the day of the week. Fridays would normally be my longest run.
Yep.
Would be my longest run because I then have Saturdays and Sundays off.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my normal running day would be around about 5 miles.
Okay.
4.5, 5 miles a day. I try to get more to the 5 mile mark per day. Yeah. I fast every day. So
Okay.
I do 16 hours. Well, now I've just gone up. So I've gone to 17 hours of fasting. And then I eat during the 17 hours. And then I drink then I eat during those 7 hours.
Yes.
Whereas before I was doing 16 hours, 8 hours. Now doing 17, 7. Yeah.
And with that, sorry, is that mainly for weight management, or because I've heard that can lead to mental sharpness as well?
Yeah, it's helped me in a lot of ways, actually. It's good for general health. It's good for skin. It's good for the way the body functions. And it depends on what time you start. I mean, you could fast from any time, essentially, really.
Yeah.
I normally start around about the 6, 7 o'clock mark.
In the evening, you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. And then what happens is I tend to struggle a bit 3 hours after I've eaten because the sugar level goes down.
Yeah.
And then you find that you might want to have something sweet to eat or something like that. But the best thing to do is to drink water.
Yep.
Or something with like a little teaspoon. I put like a little teaspoon of juice in it or something just to kind of the boringness of water away. So I drink like that, during the night if I'm thirsty. But in the day, I'm drinking like a 1.5 liters of water a day, 2 liters a day. I don't drink. I stopped drinking as well. Yep. So I don't drink alcohol. I've eased right down on my caffeine as well. But that's my day. Well, once I'm up and running, once I've done all my exercises and everything, I then go into my normal day, which could be admin, accounts, all the stuff that us musicians deal with. Yeah. Pay bills, and then answer emails and all that kind of stuff. And then I'd get into my music if I can. I practice, and then I'd get into my practicing a bit after I've done all the bits that won't disturb me during my practice, basically. Yeah. Because practice is practice. You got to have that you got to have that time to yourself to practice.
Definitely.
So and then if I've got meetings, I then go out and do my meetings and whatever, or recordings or whatever. That's kind of later on in the day. I tend to do all my recordings, like session recordings, all in one hit. So I don't have a studio at home. So I use my friend's studio, which is not too far from my house, where I've got an old kit of mine set up. Mm-hmm. And I go there and do all my recordings. So I do that. I designate a day. I'd go, right, today I'm going to go and do all these recordings. And I'll just go in and I'll just do these recordings, or over 2 days, depending on how many tracks. Normally it's like 3 or 4, which is good.
Oh, yeah.
Get to play for the day, and record for the day, learn something about drum production and whatever. it's all good. Yeah, yeah. I practice as well on my. I don't have like I said, I don't have a drum kit at home, but it doesn't stop me from practicing the hands on the drum pad.
Yeah.
So I practice at home as well on the drum pad, which I thoroughly enjoy. A lot of people find it boring, but I actually really enjoy it.
Yeah, same. When I was younger, I thought it was a bit of a chore and I didn't see the relevance, but
Yeah.
now it's almost relaxing to get on and
therapeutic.
yeah. Have you looked at Steve Gadd's Rudiment book by any chance?
No, I haven't looked at that because I use a couple of other books.
Okay.
Maybe I try not to take on too much information because my brain's mad for that.
Yeah. Yep.
At the minute, I'm looking at I'd use the Rudiments for the Snare Drum by George Lawrence. So I've been using it for years. So I'm using that book. So I'm going through that slowly but surely. And I'm also now, the other book I've now started to look at is the Annika Niles Practice book. Brand book, which is very good. It's very, very good. It's good for me personally, It's good because number one, I don't read well.
Okay.
But the way it's all set out, I can read it and understand it, and it's very well explained. So I could like read all the text and go, oh, okay, that's what I need to do, and then I can start to practice. And I'm, just learning new things, learning new combinations and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Which I could use around the kit. And I found it very, 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 very helpful, And practice maybe 35, 40 minutes minimum. And then I could do 2 hours, and that's just pad work. That's just pad work. That's not kit work. That's just pad work.
Yeah.
I've got to go somewhere else to do the kit work, you see. I've got to go somewhere else. So like where I am now at LSM, this guy's, it's because I teach here as well.
Yeah.
As well, which is great. So I come here and I do like 1 whole day of teaching. So I could come here and do like my practicing as well. Like last week I was here with my son teaching, and then on not Saturday gone, but the Saturday before I was here teaching for the day, teaching students as well, which is great, which I thoroughly enjoy. I enjoy
it. I'd love to dig into the teaching side of your life a little bit later as well.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
I just don't want to forget.
No. Put it down on your notes.
Yeah, it's in the notes. But it's so easy to get stuck in rabbit holes of topics as well. And I really don't want to leave anything out.
No. But going back to my personal life is very, I try and keep it personal,
Okay.
I mean?
Yeah.
Try and keep it personal, but what I do outside of music is my own business, so to speak.
Yeah.
And when it's time for me to chill, I just want to chill. Do you know what I mean? Chill out, watch TV, listen to music, do a bit of reading, maybe. I'm not a massive reader. Audiobooks, I'm into. Audiobooks, I'm into. I like to read my Bible a bit and study the Bible.
Yeah.
So I like to do that, and I study with my pastor. So you know what I mean? My pastor has me like 1 day a week studying with him. We go through like a book of the Bible, which is great. Do you know what I mean? I found it very, very good for me, for the soul, for my mind, because it's different from music. So it helps me to focus. When it comes to doing the music, helps me, relaxes my mind, and helps me to focus on the music later on,
That's what I was going to ask, is how have your Bible studies impacted your life in general and music?
Oh, immensely. I mean, to be honest with you, since I've been a Christian, the being a Christian has made me focus more on the really important things in life. So, you know, for me at one point, drinking was a massive thing.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was the be all and end all for me to have a drink. Now, I'm not even bothered about a drink.
Yeah.
I like to go in the studio and play drums or go to church, Bible study, or, you know what I mean? Listen to music and something else completely different.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and having the Lord in my life has just made me a lot more calmer.
Yeah.
When there's massive issues, one time I'd be absolutely stressing. I tend to not stress anymore. Do you know what I mean? I just pray about it and just put it in God's hands, basically.
Yes.
So it helps me a lot more calm within myself. And also it's helped me to speak with other people about it as well. And to speak to other people when they're going through their stresses. And then I can tell them about how I deal with my stresses. You know, the last thing, and you know, I have to do it in a way. The one thing I don't want to do is force that onto people. I'd never want to do that. You know what I mean? Because it can be forced onto you. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
And I don't like to do that. So the way I approach it is by saying, well, look, this is the way that I've approached it, and this is what's helped me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, and it's helped me immensely. You know, and you know, and praying with people helps. Do you know, praying with people. So yeah, it's definitely been, and I'm to be honest with you, it's actually changed even my drumming.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's changed my drumming, the way I drum, the way I look at drums, the way I play the drums. I'm actually taking more notice of what I'm doing with my drums now. Do you know what I mean?
Wow.
You know, what I'm doing with my drum, do I play them, the tuning, all that kind of thing. All this has happened since I've basically just turned to the Lord. He's just helped to focus more on what he's blessed me with, which is the talent to drum.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a massive impact.
Did also mention relaxing. So my own struggle is I'm always striving for that day where I can take a day off and do nothing. When that day does come, I'm stuck thinking, oh gosh, I need to be doing something. I feel like I should be productive. Do you have that as well? And if you do, how do you combat that?
I have to go, right, today I'm doing nothing. And you just literally, you do nothing. You could turn your phone off. I mean, that's the best way. Turn your phone off, put it down. Don't touch it. Don't look at it. Sit and watch TV all day if you want.
Yeah.
Go out and walk, whatever. Go out with our partners. Do you know what I mean? You know, or whatever. Just do something that doesn't involve work.
Yeah.
So when I go to see my girlfriend, for me, that's like a holiday.
Okay.
Because I don't do anything. I don't do anything to do with work. I might, if I go down there, I might have a DJ gig.
Oh yeah.
Might have a DJ gig, but otherwise, I'm down there to do nothing, and it's just relaxation for the whole time, and I enjoy going down there. You know, so you have to make that time.
Yeah.
If you don't make that time, you're never going to have that time.
That's true.
You know, simple maths, isn't it? Really? Well, why don't you make the time to have a day off? Well, because I've always got this, I've got that to do. No, but that, you know, you could do that on Thursday. You could have Wednesday off and do it on Thursday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even if you did it on the Wednesday on your day off, you still might not even solve the problem. But having a day off of rest might give you the energy to solve it on the Thursday.
Yes, very true.
That's the way that I look at it. You've got to have a break from that. Got to have a break from all of that nonsense, all that crap that the music industry gives us, whether it be on business, on playing, learning songs, whatever. You just got to have a complete day off from it. Complete day off. You just go, right, today I'm doing nothing. That's it.
Do you find that it's... Sorry?
A lot of people don't get that. A lot of people don't.
Do you find that like we're both fortunate enough to be making a living off music, whether it's teaching or gigging or recording. Do you find that need for the break isn't as monumental compared to other people who are working in jobs they dislike? And
Well, we're doing what we love. So from that point of view, we're very, very fortunate. So we can create our days off.
yeah,
So we're not structured, because normally we'd work on a Saturday or Sunday, we'd be gigging.
yeah,
Fact.
yeah.
We got to make that day off in the week. That could be the Monday, that could be Wednesday, it could be Thursday, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I find that having my weekends, whenever I can have a weekend off, when it's off, it's a day off. It's not going to see someone, or it's not going out and doing the shopping. It's a day off.
Yeah.
I'm in bed. I'm staying in bed till 12 o'clock. I'm getting up at 1 p.m. I'm going back to bed. Do you know what I mean? A day off.
Yeah.
Don't call me to do anything. Don't ask me to do. And if the phone does go, don't take any notice of it. Just ignore it. You just go,
Yeah.
I'm not dealing with it. You just go, I'm not dealing with that today. Because the person at the end of the phone doesn't know that. Only you know that. And that's why you're not. Because people can be quite demanding.
Oh, yeah,
I want
definitely.
And now, what this now, what that now. You know what? You're not getting it done now, and I don't care.
That's good.
Do you know what I mean? You know? I look at the phone and go, I'm not dealing with that today. Just put the phone down, and that's it. And if
Boundaries.
you don't make, boundaries. If you don't create that boundary, you find yourself getting sucked into this whole world of work, and then you drop down. And then you're big. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why am I so tired? Well, it's because you've been going flat out for 6 weeks. That's why,
Yeah.
Day off. That's what happens. I've done it. I've collapsed through doing so much work.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I've collapsed. We just went down like that.
Gosh.
So it's you've got to create that time off.
Yeah.
Try and switch the mind off, but the only way you could switch the mind off is by doing something else that's not related to our work.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like watching TV or reading something that normally has got nothing to do with the music industry. Or going out with the girlfriend, or going to see our family. Do you know what I mean? Hanging out with, if we got kids, go hang out with the kids for the day.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Some of the kids for the day, go and see your parents, whatever. Something that's just related to music, that just takes your mind off of it and fills your mind with something that's a lot more calming. Walk in the park, walk the dog, whatever.
Do you have any hobbies that you can channel your downtime into, or
hobbies? Okay. I don't really have a hobby as such. I mean, for me, hobby, gosh, I suppose. Oh, not really. No, I like to. I like to watch films. I'll be honest with you.
Oh yeah.
Why much? Do you know what I mean? I like to binge watch when I'm having the day off. I like to binge watch, so I haven't just have to engage in anything. I do like to. I like to watch documentaries.
Nice.
I'm a documentary kind of guy.
Yep.
Space, that science fiction-y kind of, not science fiction, but space, all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Underwater stuff. Do you know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. I could binge watch that for a week, all stuff like that.
Yeah.
Watch that stuff for a week. I remember when I first met my girlfriend, she thought it was really weird. We on one of our days off, we ended up watching like a whole afternoon of tornado documentaries. We started watching one, then we watched another one, then we watched another one. We just kept on watching them. And then it was literally like 5 o'clock. Like, it's 5 o'clock. She went, what? I went, yeah, it's 5 o'clock. We've just been sitting and watching tornado videos. You know what I mean? Oh gosh, it was so funny, but it was very relaxing, and so I could
Yeah.
channel my energy into that. Do you know what I mean? You
Yeah.
know, I try to be as relaxed as possible. I mean, if I had the money, I'd be going away on a holiday or something. Like if I had lots of money, I'd be going away on really nice holidays. But even that's an effort.
Yeah, it's not a holiday because you come back thinking, oh, I need a week before I resume work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I, I will say, I played on a cruise ship once. I'm sure you have, but
Well, I haven't.
oh, you haven't? Okay. That was the one trip, even though it was a work related trip, where I came back relaxed.
Right.
Yeah, because in between playing, there's literally nothing to do.
Apart from relax.
Yeah, relax, eat more than you need to.
Yeah.
There's gyms there, but like I came back relaxed.
That's great. How long were you on it for?
10 days. And to top it off, we played 10 times. So we may have had one day off.
Oh, so you played a gig a day, every day. You played every day.
Yeah.
How long for then? Was it like a couple of 2-3 hours, 4 hours? They're long sets.
I wouldn't say it didn't go past 4 hours. It would be somewhere between 1 to 4 hours. Because you'd be at different spots. Like you'd be at the wine bar side of things one moment, then at a dance type venue. Yeah. So you sort of just it changes up.
Right. Nice. Not sure if I'd do that, but maybe I would. Maybe I would do it actually. You know, a 10-day trip. I know a couple of friends of mine, Simon Fortune. He runs a drum class out of Poland, and him and his wife went on a cruise ship, exactly like you. And I think they must have gone for like it was 2 or 3 weeks, and they said it was the best time ever.
Wow. Okay.
It was a working trip.
Yeah.
They had like a really nice, because they're husband and wife. The husband and wife, right? So they had like a really nice room out overlooking the sea thing, you know what I mean? The balcony. And then they'd go to work for a few hours, come back. You know, just like you, eat as much, drink as much as you like. Talk, just do your thing. You just go, wow, that's just very relaxing. But they said it was great. So if you're saying that and they're saying that, there's something in cruise ships.
I would say if you can get I mean, I'm sure you could walk into a gig for it, but to do it if you're playing, if you were to do it as purely like a trip with no work component, I probably would have jumped overboard. But the work element was a really nice balance.
Great. And you get to it's like you're kind of practicing gigging for a few hours a day, and the rest of the day you got off, and you can so it's really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where did you go? What was the trip, if you don't mind me asking?
Of course not. It was called the Cruise and Groove. It's a music cruise. So there was like KC and the Sunshine Band were on it, and a few other big bands. And then you had the smaller cover bands like the one I was in at the time.
Right. Yeah.
Marsha Hines was on it as well. Are you familiar with Marsha Hines? She's a big, I think, Australian singer or American.
I think I know
moved
her.
to Australia.
I think I know. The name sounds very familiar.
She was a judge on one of the singing TV shows as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, to answer your question, where it went, it was Nemea, Mystery Island, and there was one more island.
Right.
I can't remember the last one.
Was that Australasia type thing, or?
Yeah, like it just from Australia to the 3 different islands and back.
Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, if the opportunity arises, you never know.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be a good experience to get both work and forced relax time.
Yeah, forced relax time.
Exactly, because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah. Somebody's asked me to do a DJ cruise actually for next year.
Oh,
To go on
Go
a
for
cruise next year doing DJing and stuff. So that should be fun, depending on what they do with the band, but and whatever else I'm doing, you know. But it sounds like fun. Could be fun.
yeah. Would that be a big cruise or like a night cruise?
I think it's over 3 days or something,
Nice.
like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or something like that. Do you know what I
That'd be
mean?
great.
It's over the course of a few months.
Mm,
So it could be quite a lot of fun,
yeah.
you know. So, you know, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. It's not long enough that it's a huge risk, but it's short enough for you to test the waters, not taste.
Test
What's
the
that?
waters.
Yeah.
Dip go in.
Yeah. You mentioned you had a son. How do you juggle like family life and being a busy musician?
Well, my kids are big.
Okay. Yeah.
So my daughter's my eldest. She's in her 30s. So my kids are all big. They've all left home. Do you know what I mean? My boys are still at home with their mum.
Yeah.
So I was with my youngest son last week here, drumming last, and he literally just decided he wanted to play the drums, and he said to me, "Oh, I bought a drum kit," and then I saw him playing on his Instagram. He never told me that he bought the kit.
Oh,
Or
wow.
anything. He just said, "Oh yeah, you know, I like the drums." So, "Oh, okay, you know, I'll give you some lessons." All right, okay, cool. Next thing I knew, he's bought the drums, he's taught himself, and he's put himself on Instagram. And that's the first
Amazing.
time that I've seen him play. So I immediately reached out and said, like, "Oh my gosh, son, you're playing drums. Sounds amazing, really good. You know, let's have a jam." And then the jam happened last week. So
I saw the clip. It was
you
great.
saw the clip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was Luca. That's my youngest. Yeah.
Okay.
The way I try to, because I don't live with my kids, right? So
Yeah.
I don't live with my kids live with their mums, and the boys live with their mum. My daughter lives with her boyfriend, and so I make time. Right, what are you doing? Blah 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 blah. I always try and work out when's the best time, really.
Yeah.
Do you know? Yeah, I am busy, but like the days off, you've got to make time.
Yeah.
The days off, you've got to make time. When your kids don't live with you, you've got to make that time, or you've got to keep in contact with them. You see what I mean? So you've got to make time, send the message. So I find time. I make sure that I find the time.
Yeah.
To connect with my children. It's very important. It's really important for me. It's very important to connect with all of my children.
Yeah.
So, and it's great, you know, and I love when they all get together, because when they all get together, it's such good fun. You know what I mean? It's all good fun. They're not massive drinkers either, which is great. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, they go out and have a good party when they're ready. But when they're around me, they're actually quite sensible.
Yeah.
So it's good. You know. But yeah, I find time. I make time. Like I said, as you make time to make days off, you make time to see your family.
Yeah.
Another way I can chill out as well. It's just another way I could chill out.
And yeah, of course. And how did you feel when your son basically, when you found out your son took up drumming? Like,
I
which
was
is,
super proud of him.
yeah.
Super proud of him because he'd done it all on his own, which is how I started. I did it completely all on my own, you know. He bought his own drum kit. I bought my own drum kit. My mum wouldn't buy it for me. He didn't ask me for any help to buy his drums. He just bought himself the kit and he just started playing.
Yeah.
And he's a natural player because I haven't showed him anything. I didn't show him anything until last week, and he's already playing. So, you know, and he wants to pursue it, and he writes music, he produces music.
Oh, awesome.
So he's doing all of that. He's into the technology. He's into the, I don't know, it's Ableton or Cubase. I don't know, he's into one of them. You know, I use Logic personally, but he uses something else. Do you know what I mean? You know, but he writes some good music. He does some really good stuff. You know, he's getting vocals put on his tracks and all that. He's producing some good stuff.
What style?
It's kind of indie, chill out, loungy. It's not heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I want to say it's like he's sound designing because he's taking all these. He'd take a guitar riff and just mess around with it, and it sounds like something else.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm going to say there's no. I can't even put it into a genre. I'm going to say it's like indie chill.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? You know.
You started off in like the indie genre of music, didn't you? Or maybe that was one of your first bands?
That was one of my first bands, yeah.
Yeah.
Indie dance.
Yeah, that's right.
CandyLand is where I started.
Yes.
That was the first band I ever joined. That was. That's the first professional band I ever joined.
Yeah.
There was bands I was before that, but that's the first professional band that I ever joined. So that was back just before Jamiroquai, before Urban Species and all that kind of stuff. You know, so that was a nice period of my life actually, because that's when I started to play with click tracks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We're talking back in the 80s now. Going back in time now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Using like the Akai S1000s, MPC 50 sequencer, which is a completely separate thing. The box like that, sampler there, and you had to get the sequencer to trigger the samples and to play them in. Yeah. So it was a very and using an SPS1, the very first SPS,
wow,
which is like 8 pads, 8 pads, and then you could just trigger, put drums on them, and I had a kick and I had a kick, snare, hi-hat with the SPDS and one cymbal, and I went and I toured the band like that, yeah. And we had the sequences using the click track and all that. It was mind-boggling, but very good. A good educational time of my life.
Yeah.
Good educational time of my life. Yeah, I actually enjoyed playing in that band actually, because the music was dance music. It was kind of like my first experience of dance music.
Is this CandyLand you're referring to, CandyLand, or Urban Species? Yeah.
No, CandyLand. And stayed with them for a couple of years, actually. For a few years, did the toured America, UK and all that, which is great. You know, we did all right. I mean, I only did one album, but for me, the music was great. It was, you know, produced by some really good people. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So it was really good fun. It was good fun. It was really good fun to do, and I still I still play the album now, still, even though it's a bit dated, but it still sounds great to me, you know, because I'm playing it, because it was just good fun music to do. Yeah, fun music. and a good bunch of lads as well. You know, we're all good, all like really close knit and everything. You know what I mean? You know, so yeah, it was good. Yeah, and then after that, I joined. That band split up, and then I joined. I didn't join the band, but I was doing a session drumming for a band called Freaky Realistic, which was just out and out pop, basically.
Okay.
Out and out pop, which is just like singer, rapper, and another girl singer who was from Japan. So it was the rapper was from Canada, the singer was from London, and the other girl singer was from Japan. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a nice little bit. It was actually quite a nice. The concept was very good. But there was obviously something going on there. Don't know what. Do you know what I mean? There was something going on. It didn't quite work out. Anyway.
Yeah.
I ended up splitting up, and that was the end of that session for me. I then ended up going to joining Urban Species after that, which is a hip hop band.
Yeah.
Again, was another learning experience because I took my learning of all the technical stuff, samplers, MPC, and all that kind of stuff, and brought it into the Urban Species hip hop stuff for live. So I turned their album into a live set, basically. So I just programmed up all their live stuff, all the loops, the beats, all that from scratch. Done it all from scratch. Do you know what I mean?
All while you played drums as well, in addition to the loops.
I played drums on the gig, but what I had to do like a maybe 2 weeks worth, or like 2 weeks worth of programming from scratch, all the songs. Do you know what I mean? And then they wanted them to follow on consecutively, so I had to get the manual out. How do I let one track lead onto the other? Changing tempos, it was nuts. It was nuts. Yeah, so I had to look into it and go, right, okay, this is what I need to do. And I'm like looking at it, going through it and go,
gosh.
Yeah, but it all worked. And it all worked really, really well. Yeah, it all worked well. You know, I thank the Lord that there was no mishaps. There might have been, I think there might be one mishap, but it wasn't a major one. It was just a case of getting the backup disc out, because you had floppy discs back then. Do you know what I mean? So getting another disc out and then just loading that, it was fine. You know,
I'm sure a lot of people who watch this podcast episode will be questioning what a floppy disk is.
What a floppy disk. Type in floppy disk.
Yeah.
Google. Yeah.
With CandyLand, I hope you don't mind me asking, but I saw in another interview that you had a pretty bad accident with the band.
Oh, yes.
How did that change things for you moving forward? Like just general day-to-day versus touring in a band? Like, were there any mental hurdles that came as a result of that?
Yes. Well, I was much younger then, wasn't I? So it happened whilst we were on tour.
Yep.
Basically, it happened whilst we were on tour. We were traveling from one gig, going to one city to going to another city overnight, and it had snowed.
Yeah.
It snowed. The roads were more or less clear, but then we'd hit some black ice, and the car went off, because in America you have these long motorways, and then on either side you've got the dips, haven't you? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you know, and you have the dips, right? So the car, you just couldn't control the car. The car went off down into the dip and then just rolled quite a few times.
Yeah.
Luckily, everyone had their seatbelts on. The only person that didn't have their seatbelt on fully was the tour manager, who broke his collarbone, and and I think he fractured his arm or something like that. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
So everyone else was fine because we all had our seatbelts on. Yeah. So the way that, I mean, it was a frightening experience. We were very lucky that that our phones were still working, that we could call the other band on their bus and get them to come and get us. But prior to that, the tour manager, bless him, even with his bad collarbone and everything, managed to get through to the ambulance service, which was a local town not too far, that came and got us all, picked us up and put us all in the back of the ambulance and took us to the hospital. Do you know what I mean? You know, so, you know, we were very lucky in that respect. I mean, it could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. You know, I mean, luckily it was the last gig of the tour. It was the last gig of the tour. So, and I don't even think we did that. We didn't even do that gig. We didn't do that gig. The band did the gig, but we didn't do that gig. So we had to cancel that last gig.
Yeah.
So the main bands that we were supporting at the time. I mean, I came away from that thinking, I'm very lucky, because that could have been the end of my career in any form or fashion, whether it be death. So I'm lucky to be alive. It could have been permanent damage to my arms, my hands, my legs, back, anything, you know.
Yeah.
And I want to be having this interview now, you know, as I'm very lucky that I can be talking about it with you now. Do you see what I mean? So I thank the dear Lord that he stopped me from having any serious damage. Do you know what I mean? So I just thank my lucky stars, really, that I'm here. You know what I mean? You know, and also, but you have to remember, you know, being so much younger back then, you just think, oh, that was all right, fine. I just carry on doing what I'm doing, you know. And I literally just went back and just did exactly what I was, you know what I mean? Drinking, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Just carried on my life. But you know, but I think that was part of the shock as well. Yeah,
definitely.
Shock of actually getting out of that alive and then just going, oh my gosh, I need a drink until you start drinking. So, you know, you do all that kind of stuff. And, you know, and then, you know, then I've gone on to have children, more children. Do you know what I mean? You know, so, you know, it makes me think I'm very lucky to be here. Very lucky to be here and to be doing what I'm doing. Do you know what I mean? And to be making a living of what I love to do as well. You know, I mean, I've had a couple of near misses, to be honest. The other one was 9/11, because the band was in New York, 9/11.
As in Jamiroquai now? Yeah.
Yeah, we were in New York doing a gig on September the 10th.
Oh.
And then on the 11th, we were meant to fly from New York to Los Angeles or somewhere like that. To Los Angeles. And I believe it wasn't the flight that we were on, but the flight before that got hijacked or something like that.
Oh, man.
Because we were partying all night after the gig, cancelled the flight to get the later flight.
No way.
The lady, bless her, the lady from the record company said, we're getting on the next, we're not going to get that flight, we're going to get a later flight. Okay, great, fine. We said, fantastic. Anyway, so we ended up celebrating whatever, because it was a really good gig. I think it was an album launch or something like that.
Okay.
And then we woke up the next morning. My ex-wife was trying to get hold of me all night. And of course, I was asleep. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've been partying and then I fell asleep. They'd got the news about this whole thing. I woke up and saw I called her and said, "Oh, hello, how are you? You all right?" She goes, "Oh my gosh, you're all right." I was like, "What are you talking about?" Because have you not seen? So I didn't know nothing about it. She goes, "The plane's got into the tower." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, really?" She goes, "Anyway, turn the telly on." And then my hotel phone's going, and it's Jay going
Yeah.
like, "Hey, D, if you turn the telly on, you got." I'm going to work. Right, I've got to go because I've got to talk to the rest of the guys. Okay, great, but I'm all right. Okay, fine. Boom. Picked up the other phone. We're talking, and then the other line on the phone's going. It's Shola. Shola's on the other phone, on the other line. And Jay's on hold. Put on the other. Got Shola. All right, Shola, he's asleep because he hasn't seen anything. I went,
Yeah.
"You've got to turn the telly on now." Turn the telly on. As he's turned it on, the second plane's gone into the tower.
Oh, good.
The second plane has got. We're watching this live. We're like a mile and a half away from the towers.
Man.
Literally. So literally within, I kid you not, we're all like, "Oh my gosh, what's going to happen?" Because we don't know what's going to happen. You know, all we could. The streets are within like, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. Streets of New York are dead. There's nothing on the streets. Absolutely nothing on the streets. The streets are just dead quiet. No buses, no trains, no people walking, nothing. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. We're in the hotel. People are coming in off the streets, coming in to look at the screens and all this kind of stuff. The people from the upstairs are coming down. We're all looking at this going, "Oh my gosh, what's going on?" We're meant to be being kicked out of the hotel. As it goes, we ended up staying in the hotel for a week.
Gosh.
Yeah, because we couldn't fly out.
Yeah.
So then Virgin then had to then rebook us on a flight, but we couldn't get out for like a week. Literally.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was mad. So another kind of near miss for us as a band. Do you know what I mean? You know,
Yeah.
so extremely grateful to be here now. Do you know what I mean? You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've had some frightening experiences.
Yeah.
Quite
Gosh.
frightening. You know. So yeah, that was a mad one. That was a mad one. But you know, we're all still here. We're all still together. So that's the main.
Yeah.
You know, making good music, and we're truly thankful and grateful for that. You know what I mean? You know, which is great. You know.
Yeah. So what I like to do is with every guest that I speak to, I ask them to ask a question for the next drummer. Now, the drummer who was on before you, his name is Jonathan Ulman. He's an American-based drummer. He's been nominated session drummer like 7 times, session drummer of the year 7 times. He's appeared on the Late Night Show with Seth Meyers. I don't know if you've... Yeah. He has specifically asked you, as a world-renowned drummer and DJ, it's inspiring to see you perform on 2 different platforms. What unique techniques do you bring from drumming into your DJ sets or vice versa? Or how do you incorporate elements from both worlds into your performances?
Right. Okay. I suppose the DJing side of it is, because my main focus is drums. That's the first thing, right? The DJing side of it is a side thing that runs parallel with my drumming, right? So I think in the short, I just enjoy doing them both. Do you know what I mean? You know, they're just things that I love to do. Love to DJ, love to drum.
Yeah.
What was that second part of that? How do I bring the elements? Was that?
Yeah. So basically, how do you incorporate either side, like your drumming into your DJ performances, or is there anything you take from your DJing into your drumming?
Yeah. So what I take from my drumming into my DJing is my love of disco.
Okay.
That's person. My love of disco music, which has always been an amazing part of my playing, to bring that into my DJing. So the style that I DJ is disco, new disco, and then house music, but it's kind of more melodic house. It's not like the heavy, it's not that mad. You know what I mean? It's more melodic, so it's more musical. It's more musical, right? So what I do is take what from my drumming, what I've been influenced by, disco, funk, soul, all of that kind of stuff. Bring it, of course, I bring that into my drumming musically, the musical. So I bring that into my drumming, and then I transfer that into the music that I like, which is the disco, new disco, house, funk, and soul, basically.
Yep.
That's how I transfer that. It's just literally just transferring one into the other. Yeah. Now, from a drumming point of view, I just take my style of playing and then take the music that I like to listen to that is similar to like what I play, and then transfer that to the people. So when I'm doing my radio shows, if you listen to my radio shows, you'll hear a lot of tracks that sound similar to like the way that I play, because it's just like what I like to listen to. Do you know what I mean? But I think the two run parallel in one another. You have the drumming, you have the DJing. The obvious is the beat matching. So your beat matching track. So that's the obvious side of it. I think the not so obvious, but obvious is the influence coming in across from my drumming into the music that I play. And then also bringing that onto pads, because I use pads when I'm playing as well. I use drum pads. So, and I bring the element of percussion, the element of electronic drums, synth drums, all of that I bring into from drumming, my actual drumming, into my DJ as well. So I'm using pads as well.
Yeah.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, no, I feel it does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how I combine the two, basically. I don't treat them as separate entities. I treat them as things that go together.
Okay.
Because you can't drum funk and then play tech house. Well, you can. You know what I mean? Yeah, I did, but I think it's just irrelevant. Do you know what I mean? So I'm thinking like, this is what he's about. This is the band he plays with. This is the music he likes to play. This is the music we see him playing. When he DJs a very similar thing.
Yeah.
Very similar, or the same, or roundabouts, the different genres that kind of go with that style of music that he plays. You know, let's just try and make them run parallel together.
After picking up DJing, did you find that any of the skills and abilities that you learned and developed there, did any of that sort of complement your actual playing of the drums?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. In ways of creating beats on the drums now.
Okay.
Creating drums. But then also what it did was it got me back into, which I kind of lost for a while, the art of listening to lots of music.
Okay.
So listening to lots of music, DJing, do you know what I mean? Then I can go, oh, do you know what? I quite like that. I can use that in the drum beat. So I then reverse the the transference, so to speak.
Yeah.
So this way, it also goes that way as well, you know. So I tend to do that quite a lot. I listen to beats, I go, oh, I quite like that beat. So this could be something that someone's programmed, and then I could take that element, an element of that, and bring it into what I'm doing and make up a new track myself.
Yeah.
Or do a remix or something, you see. You know, I can do that. I tend to do that quite a lot. I tend to also also, which you can answer. So Jonathan Ulman, another way is when I'm running two tracks together, when I'm DJing, it creates a certain rhythm. Creates a certain rhythms by combining the two beats together. It's not just, all right, it's four to the floor. We know that. So those go together. But you can hear two different separate hi-hats, but they match. Run them together, they match. They kind of work, and they create this really nice rhythm, which when timed right, people get into when you slowly fade one out and then you go into the next track. And it's the element where the two beats are working together. I pick up on that and then use that in my drumming.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that would be such a unique like experience to be able to hear that and then also get these ideas that wouldn't be written down on paper. Like you wouldn't be able to learn it from a book. You're learning it from
just listening.
Unique experience. Yeah.
Just listening. And you can do that with any track or with any music. Do you know what I mean? You know, you can get those two elements. One track is doing this, another track's doing that. Soon as you start to bring in that second track, you're getting this really kind of, all of a sudden, this beat's really picked up a bit, but it's just your next track coming in. Do you know what I mean? And then just bringing you into the next track. Louis Vega does it quite a lot. But I'll tell you who's really good at it is Roger Sanchez. He's really good at it, but he's house. Roger Sanchez, he's house music, but he does that quite a lot.
Okay.
The matching, and he does it across 4 decks. I only do it across 2. He does it across 4 decks, which is fantastic. When you listen to him play, you watch him, you go, oh my gosh, what's he doing there? But he's got like 4 tracks going, and they're all doing their bit. Do you know what I mean? But it makes up one thing, one complete beat. So that's what I do. I bring that element of DJing back into my drumming. Well,
okay.
You got you sneezing there?
No, cough. I've still got a bit of a remaining cough from this cold.
Right. Okay.
Can't quite get over yet.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for answering that question. Jonathan Ulman is a great drummer. You might want to check him out too. And he's an absolute gentleman as well.
I will do.
Yeah, I'll shoot you over some links after.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, please do. And the other guy as well. The first drummer,
Ricky Wellman.
Yes.
Yeah, I will. Will do.
I'm always interested in learning about new drummers, finding out about new, especially drummers that do other genres as well. That do other genres, because it's always nice to see how they play.
Yeah. It's scary, like, to think that, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago, you'd only really come across drummers through like drum magazines or DVDs or video cassettes. And now there's so many drummers around the world that you can just tap into at the tip of our hands.
Yeah, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, It's a minefield. There's so many drummers out there. So many drummers out there. Yes.
If you ever need to feel insecure about your playing, then today there's lots of opportunities for that.
Any platforms.
Yeah. Okay. So what attracted you to drumming in the first place?
I don't know, to be honest. You know what? I mean, when I started drumming, I just must probably read in my bio. I just literally just picked up a pair of my mum's hangers and just started banging on the floor. Yeah. You know, she'd tell you that. I mean, mum and dad will tell you that. And they knew that I was always into music. My dad played a lot of music. My dad's the musical person, not as regards to playing an instrument, but he's got rhythm. So my dad would always be banging on the table, or creating rhythms. Do you know what I mean? You know, naturally just doing it, and and he also loves playing music. So consequently, I ended up being a DJ. My dad, when I was growing up, was like the house party DJ. Do you know what I mean? He had his records.
Yeah.
He always bought records. He always played music in the house all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I kind of just followed on from that, being brought up listening to reggae music and stuff. So I reckon it was through my dad. He was the one that kind of instilled that into me, listening to music all the time, listening to music all the time. I need to find out somebody needs this room.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, I said I was going to be in there till 2, so just keep going.
All right. Thanks, Derrick.
So he instilled that into me from when I was a kid, and then consequently, as I got older and we moved house, we moved to Tottenham, which was even more musical influences came to me then, because there was more musicians. It was a more predominantly music-based town. That's sound systems, parties. There was more, and dare I say, and as much as I don't want to say it, but I'm going to say there's more black people living in that town. Do you see what I mean? In Tottenham. So with that comes the parties, the blues dances, the barbecues, the house. Do you know what I mean? All that kind of, it all comes with it. It's all part and parcel. So, and you just get drawn into it. So I was always had music going on around me all the time. And my mum and dad's house seemed to be some sort of hub for people that used to come from parties out on a Friday and then come to my mum and dad's house on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
To hang out. And they're coming from a party on Friday. And my mum and dad are getting up, looking after me and my sister. And then the doorbell goes like, 9 o'clock in the morning, 9:30. Who's that? The door's like, oh, we're here. We're coming from. Oh my God, what?
And the party continues.
And the party, they just carried on. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was always surrounded by that whole thing. So I reckon that's what kind of drew me to drumming as such. And then listening to reggae music all the time, I just started to play it. Do you know what I mean? To copy like Sly Dunbar and all those guys, Sly and Robbie, and then there's another band called the Revolutionaries, Steel Pulse, the Cimarrons, the Dennis Brown, Toots of the Maytals, Derrick Harriott. There was a bundle. Delroy Wilson. They all were a part of my growing up listening to reggae music all the time. Do you know what I mean? And then I decided to sit down and start to copy them. Yeah. And I just started to play just to copy them. Do you know what I mean? And that's what got me more into it. And I got older, I knew that what I wanted to do, and that was it, to drum. That's what I wanted to do. And it wasn't until moving onward for quite a few years, one of my sisters, the old boyfriend, many, many years back, who was an organ player. Yeah. Played in a band, really good band. And he said, oh, you know what, you should come to one of the rehearsals, because you can play a beat. Come down to one of the rehearsals and have a go on the drums. I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I'm not too sure. And this would be my first time on a drum kit. Right? So I never played a drum kit before. He goes, yeah, come down, we start at 6 o'clock, come down, have a play, it'll be fun. Anyway, so I've got myself down there, and I was watched the guys play and everything, and the drummer said, oh, would you want to have a bash? I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll have a bash, And I got on the drums. Of course, it was right-handed. So I felt really uncomfortable playing. Yeah. So he said, because are you left-handed? I was like, yeah. He goes, oh, don't worry about that. We'll change it over. So changed it over and just played for a bit. Do you know what I mean? I was getting into it. Do you know what I mean? I played for about 5 minutes or something like that, and then that was off, and then they could get
Yeah.
back to the rehearsals. And
So
then
did
I,
that.
and then I
Sorry.
took it a bit more seriously after that, to be honest with you. Yeah, I took it up a bit more seriously after that. And there was a guy who was there, a guy called Kenrick Rowe, who then actually said to me, taught me about rudiments. And he was the guy that actually put me on the road to practicing properly, or learning how to practicing properly to drum properly. Do you know what I mean? Because at that time I was just listening to rhythms and just copying them, and that was it, really. Watching people on telly and then copying. Do you know what I mean? That's what it was. Yeah. So when I got to the rudiment side of things, it was an eye-opening experience. You know what I mean? You know, paradiddles, all that kind of stuff, triplets, all that kind of stuff. And that's when I got introduced to the rudiments for the snare drum by George. And it kind of just carried on from there, really. That's how I got more into drumming and listening to people. And then my friends from school introduced me to Harvey Mason, Billy Cobham, Eddie Russ, Donald Byrd, all these jazz funk influences. And that's when I moved from reggae to the whole kind of funk, more jazz funk fusion kind of thing. Jeff Lorber and all that. I moved into all that. Yeah.
So around that time, did that really affirm for you that you wanted to make a living off being a drummer?
Yes. Yeah.
How amazing.
It was around about that time. I was still at school at this time, 15, 16. I'm like, I want to be a drummer. But my mum was going, you need to do something else. Anyway, so I thought, right, I'm going to be a journalist. As it goes, the school said, we don't really think you should be a journalist. You could be something else, but don't be a journalist. I'm like, all right then. I want to be a lab technician. Cool, that's good. Lab technician. So I did all the qualifications and stuff to be a lab technician and all that. Biology, chemistry and all that, which I was really rubbish at. And then I was actually into kind of like the business side of things.
Okay.
Learning about business, basically, office work and all that kind of stuff. So I did a course in like office and business practices and stuff like that, even though my business is awful. So I did that, and I managed to get a part-time job when I left school.
Yeah.
When I left school, we're talking about 16, 17 now. You know what I mean? I left school, got a part-time job, and saved up my money and got my first drum kit. Got my first drum kit. By this point, I was like 18 or something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was right for me because you just wanted to know how serious I was about drumming. So it got me a little part-time job, Marks and Spencer's, and saved me money up. £400 back then was a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
And I got my first drum kit. Yeah.
Did was that because I've watched as many interviews as I could that you've been on. Just I didn't want to sort of like ask you the same questions, but some have to come up again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
The job that you're talking about, is this the one that you hated and you just were like, nah, I'm done, and you gave you 2 weeks notice?
That was Rumbelows. That was after.
Oh, okay.
Rumbelows was later.
Right.
An electrical shop that sold washing machines, TVs, Hi-Fi. We call it curries over here. I don't know what you call it over there, but you might have the equivalent of that.
Yeah.
They sell drives, all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was working on the delivery side of that company.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working on the delivery side of the company. And basically, I was in that job, and I just, at that one point, I just went, I'm done. I'm done with this. I'm over it.
Can you, because I went through a similar struggle. I ended up working as an accountant for like 6 years.
Oh,
Same
okay.
sort of thing where parents said, get the secure,
Get a
stable
job. Yeah.
job and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. Until similar thing, I was like, nah, stuff it. I'm quitting.
Yeah.
I don't have any other job lined up. I'm just gonna, I can't take it anymore. Can you take me through what was going through your mind that time of like being torn between having to do this secure, stable option and wanting to pursue your passion? What was happening in your head?
Okay, so when I made the decision to go from, because Rumbelows was much later,
Yeah.
it was when I was at Marks and Spencer's that I chose to be a full-time musician. So
Okay.
basically what happened was I got offered redundancy at Marks and Spencer's, and they said, you can take the redundancy or you can work for another 8 weeks, see how you feel, and then you can carry on in whatever department we're going to put you in. Do you know what I mean? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to stay on because you never know. It can go sideways, whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I stayed on and I had this 8 weeks pondering, 2 months of pondering. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What should I do? And then during that 8 weeks, I got the offer of being a full-time musician paid on a monthly basis from CandyLand.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because we were signed to Fiction Records at that point. So they said, well, look, tell you what we'll do. And I said to them, look, I'm at Marks and Spencer's. I've got a mortgage. I've got to work, basically. And I
Yeah.
said, I tell you, this is the record company saying this. And they said, we'll pay you a monthly wage and we'll pay you for your tours and do whatever and whatever, and you could play for the band full time. So I just went, I don't know. I just had to go away and ponder that. Do you know? So now 2 ponderings I've got to do now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I go full time. Either way, I'm still making money. But what's the better move? Anyway, I said, well, I'm just going to take the hit or whatever it is. I'm going to go full time into music because I really love playing drums.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I just went in and I just went, do you know what? Amanda did me notice. I'm gone. They're like, no, really? Because we really want you to stay. Because they had me in HR.
Right.
Brilliant at it because I was just learning. Do you know what I mean? You know, but I said, I don't really think this is for me. I prefer to do. I think I'm just going to be a musician. I've been offered work full time.
Yeah.
Musician. Go and try that out. They were like, okay, and then I left, and then that's when I went into music full time. Like,
How old were you at that time?
20s,
20s.
20.
Okay.
I got my first drum kit at 18.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would have gone early 20s, 24, 25, something like that.
Right.
Yeah, I was young.
Yeah. Big decisions to be made at such a young age.
And I had a mortgage.
Yeah. That's impressive in itself, by the way.
Well, I had a mortgage, yeah. So the sheer fact that I had the mortgage and I knew that money had to come in to pay that and pay the bills, I had to make a decision, but also make a decision where I actually was where I knew I'd be stable for a bit.
Yeah.
Because I could build myself up if I was going into music. Whereas with Marks and Spencer's, I could just work there for the rest of my life and then take the pension and be cool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know. But I'm not sad that I left Marks and Spencer's. Do you know what I mean? I enjoyed my time there. It was great. And I'm still friends with people that I worked with to this day. I saw the money last week.
Oh, wow.
You know, so I'm still friends with them.
Yeah.
You know, and I've just done my music thing and whatever. And it's nice to see them, and because they used to come to my gigs.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
They come to the gigs back in the day, CandyLand and all that. They used to come to the gigs, and I would be like starting work at 6 a.m., finishing at 1 p.m., going to sound check. No, going home, picking up my drums, going to a sound check, gigging, finish at whatever time it was in the morning because I couldn't load out until 1 a.m. And then I would either leave my drums at the venue to pick them up the next day, or I'd go straight to work because I was gigging in the West End where I was working, and it was too much happening to take my drums home. So I'd leave my drums at the venue, go to work, bleary-eyed and super tired, and then finish work at like 1 p.m. and they'd go, oh, and then the guy would say, oh, the cleaner's coming at, whatever, 1:30. So yeah, you can come and get your drums. So then I'd have to then go home. I can't remember how I did this. No, I'd go home, pick up my car. No, I'd go back to the venue, call a taxi, put my drums in the car and go home.
Wow. How grateful are you now that you have like a road crew to sort that all out for you?
Yeah, that's with the band, but a lot of the times I just put the drums in the back of the car and do it almost when it comes to function.
Yeah.
But it's these things you have to go through.
Oh yeah.
But I'm happy. But when it came to making that decision, I had no doubt that I was going to lean towards the music.
Yeah.
No doubt I was going to lean towards the music because that's what was in my bones. That was in my soul. That is what I love to do. It's what I love to do.
Yes.
You see, and to this day, I still love to play drums. So, I'm again, like I said earlier, like we said earlier, we're very fortunate to do what we love. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Make money. Yeah.
So, sorry, you go.
No, so that was my turning point. The Marks and Spencer's redundancy, stay on, or music company, take the monthly wage and pursue my career.
Yeah. Well, even I'm grateful you made that decision. Like you're one of the drummers that I look up to now, especially when I was younger and I was listening to Jamiroquai in my younger days. Like always loved your drumming, loved Jamiroquai as a whole. But huge inspiration for me. So
thank you. I'm glad you like the music. I'm thankful to everyone else out there who's really supported myself as a drummer, as a musician, and then also the band as well, and the music as well. So I'm eternally grateful, to everyone out there for really supporting what we've done. Do you know what I mean? What we've done for the music industry as in regards to the type of music that we do. You know what I mean? Bringing back, because I think when we were doing our music, the disco thing wasn't in as such.
Okay.
Taking like a back seat. Until like Traveling Without Moving, the album came out and the Cosmic Girls came out and Your Virtual Insanities came out and all that, Use the Force and all that kind of stuff came out. Acid jazz is one thing, but what we're doing now is what we were doing back then was more disco based. The tracks like All Right was more disco based. Disco funk, Cosmic Girl, disco funk based. You see what I mean? It's more moving on a bit, so moving out of that acid jazz and then going into that disco funk thing, and then which then opens up the doors for other people to do, because you're taking a risk by doing disco, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Record company were like, that would never be a hit. That's only going to be big in the gay clubs and all that.
Yeah.
Our biggest silly single, just like you go. There you go.
Yeah.
And Virtual Insanity, which was like an R&B track, essentially.
Yeah.
It was an R&B track. Do you know what I mean? Different groove. It wasn't following the genres of everyone else. It was completely different. And then the video as well, which was very unique. And then you got unique music with a unique video, and then with a very specific album.
Yeah.
It's all glued together by one man's voice. You see what I mean? You know, and then you go, that's different. And then that kind of true holds till now. People still love it. People still like it. You know, you still go out, you play the gigs, people love it. Do you know what I mean? You know, they love the music. And so I'm eternally grateful that people are still loving the music, and they still come out to come and listen to us play, you know. So, and nice to be inspired, be an inspiration to people like yourself, to other people who want to be like us, or to drum like me, or to play like Matt or Toby, or God rest his soul, or to play like Stuart or Paul, or play like Rob. Do you see what I mean? We're all quite we're inspired by people, but then we're inspiring other people as well.
Yeah,
it's really nice to hear, because we just do the music, but we love what we play. So when we go out and we'll go up stage and we're playing those tracks, you know what I mean? You know, all those tracks, we love playing them.
Yeah,
we love playing Space Cowboy, love playing User Force, love playing Journey to Arnhem Land, love playing all that. You know what I mean? You know, Emergency. We love playing all those tracks. We don't go on stage and go like, oh my goodness. Oh.
Yeah.
And that's 30 years on. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But people love it. And the sheer fact that people love it over that span, over that period of time, you go, that says a lot. It says a lot.
Yeah.
So, and that's where I'm truly grateful for the fans. Do you know what I mean? For the fans. Genuine fans, or the people who say, "Oh, I don't like them, whatever." Do. I'm like, well, it's all right, but you still tap your feet to the music. It doesn't matter, does it?
That's it.
There is something in there, you know.
Yeah.
As one guy said when we were doing the Victorious Festival, a guy said on Facebook, "Oh, Victoria's such a great festival. What are they putting on the old has-been funksters or something like that, or whatever it was." Do you know what I mean? You know, and that was like, okay, you might say that, mate, but the gig sold out.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. Usually when people don't have something nice to say, they're not a very credible source either. So yeah.
I think you came to the gig and enjoyed it. So there you go. That's it.